Hi, everyone. This is Alexandra Bello with Miami Web Fest interview series. And today I have Rahel Grunder with us, and we're going to be talking about her show, I Want to Be Single with You. But first, I want to get to know you, Rahel. So I want to welcome you to the interview series. You are a writer, producer, director based in Los Angeles. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit more about yourself?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm super excited to be here and super excited to be invited to the Miami Web Fest. Yeah, as you said, my name is Rahel Grunder. I'm mostly a writer-director. I'm originally from Europe, moved to Los Angeles in 2010, and graduated from AFI and have since been making films and television shows.
Very nice, very nice. I am just in case putting my phone on silence. I don't want anything to interrupt this. This is a very interesting interview. I got a little bit of time to talk to Rael, and she's absolutely amazing in so many ways. So we're gonna be, getting to know you and all the things that you do. Rael also has a professional career, not only in the arts department, but she's also, she studied anthropology. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that and how you were able to mix your career with film?
Well, I was actually writing for TV series before I studied anthropology. I had this big wish, even as a child, to be working in the movies. But then I realized I have to know more about life and people before I can actually tell stories that ring true, which was always those that moved me so deeply, those movies that I wanted to make. And so I felt like I want to explore life first before I tell stories. And that's why I studied anthropology. And luckily, we had a focus on visual anthropology. So there was one class every other year that allowed students to make documentary films. And I was super excited about it. But once I passed the undergraduate test, it was the year that it didn't happen. This class didn't happen. And so I begged my professor to still be allowed to make a documentary. And there was a huge resistance because not only did I want to make a film, a documentary, and had never shot anything before, but I also wanted to go on a freighter with 10 sailors and portray them while they were at sea, which seemed like a pretty dangerous adventure. And so my professors were like, maybe that's not the best idea to make your first movie. And I was like, that's absolutely the best idea. And I want to do this. And I did it, which was a true life lesson.
Wow, that is wonderful. That sounds very exciting. You told me earlier today that you started very early as an actress because you wanted to be an actress, but then you got behind the camera and started writing, and then I guess anthropology comes along and then documentaries. So how long have you been doing, behind the camera scene?
A little more than 20 years.
Wow. And what have been the aspects in film that you have been involved in the most?
Mostly writing and directing. I really started as a staff writer for a sitcom. Very, very young by chance. I just submitted a spec for this sitcom that I watched every Friday night, and it was totally on a whim, and I got the job. But then when I wanted to go into the movies, I also did internships for production companies. I worked my way up from like driver, sandwich maker to script supervisor, which I did for a few years, which was really, really helpful because as a script supervisor, you're so close to the directors. So I saw a lot of directors working, which helped me a lot to shape my own style of directing, and then transitioned into directing my own feature content.
So you have focused in the past few years in documentaries, television shows, and feature films in the directorial side?
Mostly on the writing side. There is bigger demand, especially now with TV shows for writers, which is fantastic. But yeah, I do want to direct too, but there is less directing gigs than writing gigs, and
So
I
you
enjoy
basically
writing too.
you work on other shows as a writer, and you come on board. That's wonderful. You're a great asset in production, because a lot of people don't like to write. So when you do find a good writer, they're a perfect asset. You're like, I'll just throw it, throw all the load on them, and then they can take care of it, and then I just go and direct. A lot of people just like directing and calling the shots and being on set, not necessarily writing or editing. So when you do find those gems about writers and editors, you're like, wow. And if you can do the whole thing, like direct, write, produce, act, and things like that, even better. Have you acted in many of your projects? How many have you?
No, only in 2, and those were, I would say, like smaller projects of mine, like the web series pilot that I did, and another one was just a little movie that I did with a friend, where I did 3 parts. I was every actor in the film, which was the concept of it. But yeah, those that I've written, those were the 2 only ones that I've acted in.
Very nice. So now that we're talking about you acting in the smaller project, which is the web series pilot, why don't you tell us a little bit about the pilot? It's called I Want to Be Single with You, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
This is an autobiographical project. It actually started with a book. I heard many times that my dating life is super exciting and interesting, and I should make a film about it. And I was very resistant for years. And at some point I was like, maybe I should just write a book, try a different genre of literature, not only write screenplays. So I started writing this book, and then I felt bad, it's already hard to give someone a screenplay and ask them to read it 120 pages, but with a book that's hundreds and hundreds of pages, it's even more. So I turned some of the pages into articles and sent them to friends, which also was not that easy because it was so personal. But they liked it. And one of my friends came back and said, I think it's great, but this is not an article for a newspaper like those there's this the Los Angeles Times has this series, the LA Affairs column, where people can submit articles, and he said, don't submit it, let's turn it into a short form series. And I was like, oh no, here we go again. I don't want to do this.
No, but that is wonderful.
Yeah, but then the idea grew, and he became the EP on the project, and we met every week and talked about the scripts and about the production, and actually then shot the pilot, which was fantastic.
That is wonderful. So you told me earlier that you shot the pilot 2 weeks before the lockdown. So you shot it in 2020, right?
Yes, end of February 2020.
And what was, now that we know what the reason behind this show, right? Your real life experiences. All of them in the series are real if they happen to you on the many seasons that you have.
Yeah, right now all the episodes that I have written are actually true stories.
Wow.
But I also realized when I go out and I pitch the project, or when I tell people about it, everybody I met so far was like, I have a story for you too. And they are hilarious. They're great stories. So I feel like, there is such a big pool of fantastic stories that evolve around this. So the idea was also to make a podcast with it that goes with it. So
podcasts are very interesting. A lot of people are getting into podcasts right now. So yeah, I highly recommend it, especially if people are willingly giving you their stories to share them, because some people they live these stories, but they need like certain people to share them because they don't want to be the one sharing it. So that's where you can come into play and be of service for the community. Like, let me share your stories. They're awesome. They're hilarious. They can, shed some light on this situation, and maybe, I don't know, help other women out there and men. Because I did like, well, I'll tell you a little bit about my outtake on the project. a little later. But right now, let's talk about what is the plan with the show. Like, how many seasons, how many episodes per season do you have written out?
I thought you were going to tell us your story now.
I have terrible stories. I have one that with one person, that's like an entire movie just with that one person. It's horrible. A year and a
I'm
half.
so curious.
It's absolutely horrible.
Those are the best.
I know, I cried a lot. It was a lot of drama, a lot of manipulation. But when you look at it, it's kind of like funny, but sad. It's just terrible.
Yeah, but as I said, best way to make a movie about it and heal with it and make other people laugh.
Hey, I'll share my story with you because I'm not gonna make it happen. I am a producer, but right now I'm producing family-oriented stories. Nothing with like people, going out and hooking up or things like that. That's, like I'm trying to focus more on Christian content. But I'll tell you my story. Maybe you find some value in it.
I'll invite you to the podcast.
Yes. So this show, which has a lot of potential, I saw the pilot. It looks great and very like interesting. And well, I'll tell you what I liked and what I liked because I liked everything. So I enjoyed, and I was a little confused because you see everything from her perspective and it's great, and then you see it from the other person's perspective. And it's like, what happened? Like, you get confused because things were happening a certain way and then they were happening a certain way. So I enjoyed that, and I guess it planted like curiosity in me to want to find out on the second episode what really is going on, because that's what you want to do with a web series. You want to plant a seed at the end of the episode so people come and watch the next one, which was great job on that.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. So how many episodes do you have on season 1, and how many seasons do you have?
So we only shot the pilot. As I said, there was the lockdown after, and it's also not a cheap show because every episode looks completely different depending on the two people who meet. So there is the Western episode, there's the sci-fi episode, there's the gaming episode. So there's 10 episodes in season 1, and we have 3 seasons laid out, so 30 in total, but only one is actually shot, produced.
Oh, 30 episodes. Very nice. Very nice. Great job. One of the things that people that are really serious about the career do is put things in writing. So you have that taken care of, and I hope that you do find the investors for the show, because like I said, the show looks promising. So, and there's
Thank you very much.
Yeah, there's a lot of distribution for web series now, and sometimes people can watch them like 100 minutes at once, and I watched the first episode, and then 100 minutes go by and I watch the second season, I'm sorry, and then 100 more minutes in the third season. Like people can totally do that because they love binge watching. And kind of like when you break it down into episodes, you go through the attention span of people. Like I bring you up and down in a matter of an episode's worth of it, like 10 minutes long, and you already have like your little daily dose if you want. But if you want to just keep going, you can. And I'm going to renew you some interest every 10 minutes, because that's every episode. I'm going to introduce a new problem, and then I'm going to take you on another journey. So great job on that. I also wanted to ask you, how long did it take to shoot the pilot, and what kind of crew did you have on board? Did you have a professional, massive 20, 30 people crew, or how was it?
We shot in 2 days, 2 days, 2 locations. It takes place at a speed dating event at a bar, and so this is my favorite bar in Los Angeles, my neighborhood bar, the Edendale, and the apartment is actually my own apartment. So yeah, we chopped the crew in half and invited them to my place to shoot those scenes that were filmed at my own apartment. The crew was a total mixture of friends and friends of friends and friends of friends of friends.
Yeah.
A great team. Everybody was very professional and in the industry since quite a long time. They all believed in the project and dedicated their time to make this happen, which I'm so incredibly grateful for all this talent. Yeah, that brought this pilot to perfection. I could not have done it without any of them. Like, it was so fantastic. I cried when we released half of the crew after the bar, because I was blown away. It looked exactly the way I wanted. I had imagined it, I had envisioned it. Yeah. So it was very fulfilling process.
That is wonderful, because a lot of times, like when you do something independently, it doesn't get the look, and then the director gets frustrated, and then the project kind of like gets stagnant a little bit because it doesn't look like in your head. So it's great that you watch what you shot and it looked like in your head. That's like,
yeah,
so rewarding right there.
Absolutely fantastic. And it was also a great experience because all our heads were diverse and 90% of the people were women, which was fantastic.
That's wonderful. Women, yeah, we are very like organized, and everybody's got their things to bring to the table. And I think we complement each other very well. So it was great that you had both sides of the coin helping you in making things happen. That's great. So you were on festival tour for 1 year with your project. And where did you premiere the pilot, and what other festivals have you been to?
We premiered at Dances with Films in Los Angeles last year, which was a really, really great experience. I love the Chinese theater in Los Angeles. It's where we had our graduation from AFI. So it was like coming home to show it there on the big screen. And then we just screened in Seoul last week. We got 3 nominations. Didn't win, but we screened there. We were also, several festivals were online because of the pandemic, which was a little bummer. So we were very, very excited when the world premiere actually happened in person last year in August, which was a great honor. Yeah, we've been in, I think, 9 or 10 festivals so far, all around the world.
Very nice, very nice. So you've been going on festival tour for 1 year, I guess is very exciting. Have you been producing something else while you're on your festival tour?
I have not been producing myself, but I've been staffed on 3 more TV series in the meantime. I'm writing my own next feature and curating 2 new exhibitions. So there's a lot going on.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. So you're staying productive, because you can always mix match kind of like the writing stages, which take a long time, concept development, with your festival circuit, which is part of the distribution stages of a film. So you're like coming out of one and coming into the other one. So that's very good. What are you working on next? You said that you're writing your next feature film, right? Are you writing anything else besides the feature, or are you just focusing on one feature?
I always have like 5 to 6 projects at the same time. I'm also working on a new TV show myself. Apart from doing the work for hire that I'm doing right now, I'm super excited about the TV show that I'm on. It's a crime comedy, which is super fun, great team. But I'm writing a micro-budget feature that I want to shoot next year. Myself, it's only 3 locations, same team. Very exciting to do that. The TV show that I'm writing myself is a pretty expensive one. It's a dystopian sci-fi show, mostly women who live underground. And I also have other projects. I'm still working on the book that I mentioned before. That was the origin of this web series as well. And I have 3 other TV shows that I'm kind of like in the finishing stages or rewriting stages. But all of them are on I usually write fairly expensive things. And so I decided to, for once, write a micro budget feature that I can pretty much do as I did this web series.
Yes, micro-budget is the way to go right now if we want to self-produce. And if we want to have creative control, it is what it is. And now with the distribution changing, and Hollywood only making a limited amount of feature films a year, you have to, you either, if you don't get into the roster, you have to find a way. You have to find your own way. And if you don't get into the television channels where you work for them and for hire, and everything you create under them, it's like their stuff, then micro budget, which is great. You can tell many great stories on micro budget. This show was a micro budget, right?
Depends what you call micro budget for a short form series. I don't know the numbers.
I think micro budget is under $50,000 for a feature film. For a series, probably the same, because it's 100 minutes long per season. So
then it's way above.
Yes, then good. Hey, I can see the quality and the value, the value on the content. So that's amazing. And Los Angeles is leader in production and budgets and things like that. So you have to work with what you have, which is top of the line professionals. And as much as they help and they collaborate, something's got to give. But you have a show, you have a show out of it. So that's great. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, the creative control was very important to me for this project.
For this project, because that's personal to your life.
Yes, absolutely.
Very good.
So will the next one be? So
well, yeah, I mean, I guess some people can sell some of their precious things when the price is right. So, you can be open to.
It took me 20 years to get there, but now I feel like, what's there to be ashamed of? Let's just tell the stories and help other people with that. So
yeah, of course. Or you can tell them it took me 20 years, pay me for 20 years. It's gonna be $100,000 a year. Then you can pay me my traumas and my problems, or my funny, ironic moments, and then you can produce it, because in the end you do want the show to be produced,
of course,
and get out there. Yeah, like that's I'm sure that you're gonna find someone with this festival tour, because people are out there, they're fishing for content, especially HBO Max. I think I hear they're buying a lot of content in Spanish. In Dominican Republic, a lot of filmmakers that I know, they're like grabbing.
Okay.
So I'm sure that they're going to open a division for web series or short content, because a friend of mine just told me that Netflix had like a short film, like he just watched like a 20-minute, but I think it was more like a show, but the episode's 20 minutes. So, a web series to a show is very short, very short gap. Like, sometimes they can say, well, maybe we can combine the episodes and make them 20 minutes, and we have 5 episodes per season. Everything is possible when you have a good story and it's properly structured. So you're a professional writer, you know how to do that. So that's great. Now, I want to ask you my final question to you, because we are a little above time, over time. What are your feelings about Miami Web Fest? What do you feel? How do you feel about being an official selection of Miami Web Fest? Have you ever been to Miami Web Fest before?
I have never been, and I have never been to Miami, and I'm so bummed that I cannot attend it this year. I
can't believe that I didn't ask you this question offline, but go ahead and tell me.
No, it's a huge honor to be an official selection. I mean, I was above and beyond when I saw it. I was so happy. And I told you that I was still trying until last week to make things happen, that I can come, but with my jobs, it's just not possible to attend. But we'll be there in the spirit and in our hearts, and we'll follow the communication and see what happens. And yeah, super excited. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram so you can
I do
kind of like be a little jealous about what we're going through. Just kidding. And kind of like say, I wish I was there. But we're gonna be posting a lot on Instagram, especially through the 4 days. Like throughout the 4 days, we're gonna be posting about what we're doing. We have a pool party, we have after party nights close to Calle Ocho, like all kinds of interesting things. We have like 5-star hotels that are a part of the festival, and we have sit-down interviews with some of the filmmakers that are coming. So it's gonna be very interesting. This year is definitely different. We're coming out of a pandemic. We're trying to just really Brian is trying to make it like above and beyond. And this festival has been going on since 2013, you know, one of the pioneers in Miami in web series festivals. And even though at the beginning when it started, people were not like, what is that about? Like, who cares? But now look, we have so many official selections. You have about 1,000 web series that are being produced every year, or that are being produced every few years around the world, of course. So it's interesting, and welcome to the web series world.
What a place to be in.
Yes, you're producing content for the new generations, and they're not gonna sit down and watch a 23-minute episode and then the next one, and then like they're not gonna do it. So you know, we gotta recognize who we are creating content for, is for like the 20-year-olds, the 15-year-olds, and what are they watching? At the end of the day, a story can be told in many formats. So, you know, and I was able to experience that. Yeah, I was able to experience that with your pilot. So, any final remarks that you want to say before you close the interview, or before we close the interview?
Just express my gratitude for having me, and wishing you best of luck and so much joy and fun during the festival. You're doing a great job. It's been fantastic communicating with you and being involved and feeling like to be a little bit part of the community. It's a huge honor. Thank you.
You are one of our official selections, so you are part of our family from this year forth. Like, we don't just discard you next year. You stay in contact with us through Instagram, and you are a part of Miami Web Fest. Always welcome to come in the future. So I think I'm not sure, but I think that we are taking also films, not only web series. So in the future, you know, when you do have films, documentaries, always look for Miami Web Fest. We're always taking place in September. Happening in September.
Sounds great. Yeah. I'll mark my calendar.
Thank you so much, Rahel. So
thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. I want to remind everyone to go to miamiwebfest.com if you have any questions about the schedule, about our official selections, our programming, our after parties, etc. So I am Alexandra Bello with Miami Web Fest, and I want to remind you all to follow us on social media, to also follow Rahel. And remember, Rahel Grunder is the writer, producer, and director, and she also acted in the web series pilot, I Want to Be Single with You. I Want to Be Single with You. So make sure to find in the programming when it's showing so you can watch it, and, you know, give us all a follow. Us, Miami Web Fest, and her as well. Thank you so much for coming.
Bye.
Bye.